Yo, what is good, guys? Harry here, and today I'm going to be talking about my full Facebook ad strategy for clothing brands going into 2022. So right here is a live ad account of a clothing brand where we've generated around 250,000 in sales as Facebook are tracking. It's actually a lot more than that because of the iOS 14.5 update. It's only tracked about 250,000 in sales. So throughout this video, I'm going to talk about the exact strategy I personally use on clothing brands to generate 250,000 in sales. This is probably going to be one of my most in-depth video, and it's probably going to be one of the most valued because it takes you from A to Z on exactly what we do to scale brands to 7 and even 8 figures. So let's hop into the PowerPoint. So full Facebook ads strategy for clothing brands 2022. So what are we going to cover? So there's 3 main parts to Facebook ads. So you have the campaign structure. So this is like testing ad creatives, retargeting, and lookalike audiences. Then you've got ad creatives. So you've got top of funnel ad creatives, you've got middle of funnel ad creatives, and you have bottom of funnel ad creative, because all 3 tend to be different to resonate with that audience. Last but not least, we've got scaling / increasing ad spend. And you've got CBO, manual bidding, and then just duplicating and increasing on the ad set. So, disclaimer, your clothing brand needs to have a proven product or offer. Otherwise, this strategy just isn't going to work. So I personally only work with brands that are doing over 20,000 a month. That's because I know that their product works organically, and this strategy just takes them from 20,000 to 100 plus thousand a month. But if your product is bad, if your offer is bad, no amount of marketing is going to make a difference to that. You'll just lose money. Also, I'm going to leave this whole PowerPoint down below, and you can go ahead and download it for free. And a lot of people can use this as a standard operating procedure. Whether you go to employ someone, whether you hire a media buyer, whatever, they can go through this, and you can teach them pretty easily because this literally will take you from step 1 to the last final step of Facebook ads. So part 1, campaign structure. So this is the creative testing campaign, and at the end of this I'll show the actual example of the ad account of how I structure it. To begin with, I'm just going to explain how I set it up. When you're going to do your conversion event, always go for purchase. There's no other reason to go for anything else. I've never used anything else personally in 4 or 5 years of doing Facebook ads. And because you want Facebook to optimize for the thing that you want purchases, you want new customers. So audience age, I leave it broad normally. It doesn't harm to narrow it down, but if your targeting's right and your ad creative is right, it's not going to resonate with people that aren't in your age bracket. So just leave it broad. And then what I do, I put it on manual placements, Facebook feed and Instagram story. So these are the majority of the placements that I personally use. Right now I'm going pretty hard on Instagram stories and Instagram feed. That's just because clothing brands are kind of selling an aesthetic, and Instagram is the most aesthetic place to be. So I test one ad creative, one audience at a time. So you have one ad set, one ad creative. The reason being is because you want to know which audience is performing rather than stacking them up. Another way to test an ad creative is by using your past interests that have worked. That works really well. Also, the interest supreme or the audience supreme has worked really well in your past. What I would do when testing an ad creative is just duplicate that audience and test your new ad creative on that, as this just speeds up the process because you know that's a proven audience. For my budget, I usually set them at £10 per day, each ad set, and then leave that for 3 days or 3 times cost per purchase. What I'm personally doing right now is testing a minimum of 3 ad creatives a week. With those 3 ad creative, I'm also testing that on 3 different audiences, as your creative is going to be the biggest dictator of what your cost per purchase is and what your return on ad spend is. So now I'm going to show you the ad account and show you how we've got it set up. So this is in the creative testing ad campaign. And as you can see, there is a lot of ad sets within here. Obviously not all of them are on. So there's 145 ad creatives in here. So there's 145 ad sets in here. Not all of them are different ad creatives, but they're at least different audiences or different ad creative. So a lot of testing has been done in here. So this is the breakdown inside the ad set. So I've just clicked edit. So as you can see, we're targeting hype beast, conversion event, purchase, daily budget, £15 a day. And right here, we're targeting most of the big countries. What I recommend is targeting Europe, United States, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, just the big countries. And then you can see the age is 18 to 65, and you can see the targeting is hype beast, and I leave that all the same, just with one interest. And this one right here is on automatic placements, and it says I've changed my strategy. This ad set's been on for a long time, but normally it would be like this. I'll show you now. Normally it'd look something like this. So Instagram stories, Instagram feed, and Facebook news feed you can put on. Recently I've just been having better results with just Instagram feed and Instagram stories, and even just Instagram stories on their own. So as you can see, this has generated 135 purchases and 12,000 in revenue. So what I would do personally is just hit duplicate and hit suggestions, and then target something similar to that. So maybe Supreme, maybe Complex Magazine. I'm going to go through different targeting in a minute throughout this PowerPoint, and I'll give you loads of targeting that already works. And yeah, so you got Balenciaga, so I'd hit that, take the hype beast out, and then go ahead and hit publish. And then what you want to do is keep on testing ad creative and keep on testing different audiences with those ad creatives until you get the highest possible return on ad spend. So this right here is a spreadsheet of a couple of ideas that you can use while targeting on Facebook ads. So you've got stuff like general, these are very broad audiences. You've got like clothing, jacket, outerwear, streetwear, street fashion, vintage clothing, outfit of the day. And then what I prefer to go with is stuff like brands, as these type of interests tend to have a higher conversion rate, in my opinion. So stuff like Hypebeast, Supreme, Balenciaga, A Bathing Ape, Zara, Urban Outfitters, ASOS, stuff like that. And there's many more on Facebook. These are just a couple of them, and just to give you some ideas and some suggestions. And you've got stuff like magazines, so GQ, XXL, Complex Magazine, and then also you've got like rappers, so like Kanye West, Drake, Travis Scott, ASAP Rocky. So these are all audiences you can use right now, have worked in the past. Retargeting on Facebook ads. So there's two types of retargeting. There's bottom of funnel retargeting, and there's middle of funnel retargeting. So bottom of funnel retargeting is stuff like all website visitors, view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, and purchase. These are all conversion events and are typically where you'll see the highest return on ad spend for retargeting. And then since the iOS 14.5 update, what I've been doing is stacking those audiences on top of each other, which I'll show you an example of in a minute. And then middle of funnel retargeting. So these are people that engage with your Instagram account, engage with your Facebook, and then that is visitors by time spent. So you can do top 5% of people spent on your website, top 20%, top 25%, and then finally video viewers. And you don't need to stack middle of funnel retargeting because the audiences tend to be quite big. And an extra tip is you can also test ad creative on your Instagram and Facebook engagement audiences if they're big enough, that is. So let's say you got 200,000 Instagram followers. Sometimes it's a good idea to just test ad creators on that as well, as you get very quick and very good feedback from that type of audience. And then when I'm retargeting, I typically target worldwide, but keep the structure the same as creator testing. So that's the age, that's the placement, that type of thing. But worldwide, just because it will already have the people from your creative testing campaign that you've already targeted from that country. So you can just keep it broad. It's already a set audience. Right, so now I'm going to give you an example of how to create these audiences and how I structure them. So this is my retargeting campaign. You can see we made 73,000 in revenue. This is probably the highest return campaign in this ad account, because that is usually the case for clothing brands. So as you can see within the ad set, we're targeting all website visitors 180 days, initiate checkout 180 days, purchase 180 days, page view 180 days, visitor by time spent 10%, 25%, and 5%. And these are all within the same ad set. And this just makes the audience bigger. That's the only reason. If you have got a massive brand, you can split these out, and it's better to split them out. But in this case, we couldn't because the audience sizes were too small. So we just stacked them on top of each other. So how you create these, you can either do it within the ad set or you can do it within the audience managers. I'm going to do it within the ad set right now. So you go create new, you go custom audience, and then you go website, and then next. And then for all website visitors, leave it as all website visitors. And then 180. And then what I put is all website visitors 180 days. And then just hit create audience. And then press done. That will come up here when you type in all website visitors. See, all website visitors 180 days. And then you literally just do the same thing for every other audience. So you just go website, and then view content, add to cart, initiate checkout. Just do them all individually. Let's say you want to do initiate checkout, go 180 days, then do initiate checkout 180 days, and hit create audience. Another thing you might want to do is just put this on all when you're individually creating them. That means it will have all the rules the same. So it will include 180 days of initiate checkout. So that's how I bottom of funnel retargets. Next, we got Instagram engagement and Facebook engagement audiences. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do that as well. So you go create new again, and then custom audience. And then you go Instagram account. And then you keep it on everyone who engaged with this professional account. And then I just name that engaged. Engaged with IG. Obviously pick your Instagram account and then hit all on that. And then I leave it of 365 days. Obviously you can test out shorter retention periods. It just depends how much data you got there. And then hit create audience. And then the same again for Facebook page. And then again, everyone engaged, and then engaged with Facebook. And then again, hit create audience. If you're thinking, oh yeah, but what kind of content can I use on these audiences? Just stick to the end of this video, where we're sort of like halfway through, where I will break down what creatives you want for creative testing, what creatives you want for retargeting, and what. Then lastly, we've got video views. This is another ad set. So I'm going to teach you how to create video views. So you go custom audience, and then you go video. And then this is the type of engagement. So anyone who's watched 95% of your video, anyone that's watched 75% of the video, everyone wants 50%, everyone wants 25%. And you can literally highlight all of these. I do highlight most of them. And then just say, for example, 95%. This is a little bit tedious because you have to go through all your videos, then go through them again, then go through again, then press choose video to highlight the video that you want to retarget video views on, and then just press confirm. And now you have got people that have watched 95% of that video you've highlighted in 365 days. And then hit create audience. What I personally do is normally do 95%, 75%, and 50%, as you can see here, and then just stack them on top of each other. I don't really tend to split them out because there's not much point. So you're not going to serve up a different ad creative to them. You can if you want, but I don't tend to. Right, and that is how I structure my retargeting. So lookalikes. So from the previous slide, retargeting, we would have created view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, purchase. We wouldn't have created purchase CSV or purchase lifetime. But basically, of those events that you've just created to retarget, you can now create lookalike audiences of them. And the lookalike audience is basically just an audience that looks like, let's say, someone that's purchased. So it can be very powerful. These days, they don't work as effectively as they used to, but they're still definitely worth a try out. And I found that uploading your customer base from Shopify, So downloading your purchases, your customers from Shopify as a CSV and then uploading that to Facebook, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, works very well. And then typically I create 1 to 5% of each one and split them up 1 to 2%, 2 to 3%, 3 to 4%, and 4 to 5%. That should have a 5 there. And then at 180 days. When using lookalike audiences, you usually want to target either your top performing country, let's say it's United States, or if you've got enough data, 5 top performing countries. So it might be, United States, United Kingdom, Italy, Germany, France. But yeah, if you have enough data to be able to do that, Facebook will tell you. If you don't, then it just won't let you create the lookalike audience. The way I test, I use lookalike audiences is I sometimes use it to test ad creative. If I know, 1% purchase works really well, I use it to test an ad creative, or I usually just scale with them. So if I've got an ad creative that I know is working, I will just then launch it to a load of lookalike audiences. You can also create lookalike audiences off middle of funnel audiences. So this is people that engage your Instagram, what we created a minute ago in retargeting, video views and visitors by time spent. They tend to not be as good, but they're definitely worth a try if you've got a working ad creative. Now I'm going to head back to the ad account and show you exactly how to set that up and the way I set it up. So what I'll do is go ahead over to audiences within your ads manager. Right, so in the previous slide, I showed you how to set up the audiences. So right here, let's say we want to create a lookalike of all website visitors in the past 180 days. So what I would do is highlight that, create lookalike, put in the top performing country or top performing 5 countries. So let's say United Kingdom for me. And then what you want to do is hit 5. And this creates 5 different audiences that are similar to people that have visited your website. So I hit create audience. Then what you want to do is let that load and populate. Shouldn't take long. And if you want to create purchase lifetime value audience, which is the highest lookalike audience you get. So that lookalike is based off of people that have purchased the most amount off your store. And then Facebook are going to go find people that are similar to that. You just hit custom audience and lookalike and then go hit your pixel. And then again, type in the United Kingdom. And then again, hit 5. And then create audience. So this right here is a campaign where I've used the purchase lookalike audience. As you can see, 1%, 1 to 2%, 2 to 3%. I haven't used 4 to 5%, 3 to 4%. I only really add those ones in if the 1 to 2%, the 2 to 3%, and the 1% are working well. I'll then add in the 3 to 4% and the 4 to 5%. But yeah, this is how I set it up. Individual ad sets. And then you can see the lookalike added in there. So you can see the purchase 180 days, targeting Europe. We want to get your all website visitors. The one we created earlier, 1%. You can put that in there and then take that out. So yeah, that is how I run my lookalike audiences and how I create them. So part 2, ad creatives. So throughout this part, I'm just going to break down each part of the funnel and which ad creative to serve up to which audience. So this right here is the funnel that I use. I'm going to break down each individual step, but this is just a broad overview of the funnel that I apply to all clothing brands. So top of funnel creatives. So this is your cold traffic. So when you're creative testing and testing different audiences, this is typically called top of funnel and cold traffic because they don't know your brand. This is the first time they're seeing your brand. So these right here are the different qualities that I think, in my opinion, make up a great Facebook ad for clothing brand. When running ads to cold traffic, I usually use stuff like short engaging ads, carousels, and GIFs. A majority of the time I use videos. The reason being is because these are more engaging than anything else. You can quickly get your offer across And also you can then go and retarget anyone that viewed the video. I don't just use videos, I use carousels and I also use GIFs. So most of the ads instantly need to show off the fit and the quality. You basically need to show off exactly how it's going to fit to that customer and if it basically will look good on them. As you can see here, Destructive, they capture that perfectly. And we're going to break down a couple of their ads in a minute. And again, so user generated content, so sending out your products to customers and getting them to take pictures in it work well, because you will then see how it fits on a normal person and it's relatable. So when it comes to the ad copy, on most ad creatives, the main variable is the actual ad creative rather than the ad copy. So the ad copy just really needs to reinforce the benefits, the quality, the design, the fit. So there's 3 different main points that would determine high return on ad spend from your Facebook ads. So you've got the offer, so what you're offering to your customers, whether that's a percentage off, whether that's like buy one get one free. I saw JK Attire do a sick buy one get one free. I did like 2 jackets and get one free, combined with a good product, then combined with a good ad creative. Most people don't get all 3 of these, but in an ideal world, you get all 3 of these. An offer doesn't necessarily have to be a discount, as I'm just about to tell right now, is that high-end clothing brands usually offer high quality design, high quality materials, that type of thing. And then that's usually what they push. And the high street brands, they usually offer, discounts, free shipping, Klarna, discount on volume, free shipping over a certain amount. But as you can see on the right, Destructive are offering both. So again, in an ideal world, you offer both, as this gets a direct response from the customer and makes them want to buy, essentially. So Destructive here are offering comfort, quality, and free worldwide shipping. And that's what essentially makes that ad so good. I'm just going to show you a couple of samples from that ads library right now. So right here is that ad that I was just talking about. So here on Destructive, most of their ads are fairly similar. They've got videos. You can tell these are definitely top of funnel videos. And yeah, it just basically shows off their product and shows off how it fits. So I also just wanted to add these couple of points in here. So this is a survey that Hypebeast took, where on the left they have the top qualities that a consumer looks for when buying clothing, or in this case, streetwear. So they look for cool, comfortable clothing, exclusivity, status symbol, and community. The other most important factor is product quality and design. I guess what you got to think about when you're advertising in your back of your mind is combining those top 2 things, because that's essentially what the consumer wants. So middle of funnel creative, these are your warm audiences. So these are the audiences like engage with your Instagram account, maybe your video viewers, engage with your Facebook. These people are aware of your brand, but the main thing you need to do between you and a brand and turning them into a customer is building trust and handling objections. So how do you do this? How do you build trust with them? So you want reviews of your product. As you can see how on the right, Destructive, they've actually put a quote from one of their customers. So it's my favorite streetwear brand. The fit and quality is unbeatable, and my order arrived in less than 24 hours. So they have solved all the objections there. Because when you go to buy something, because I've literally got one of their hoodies right, I'm wearing one of those hoodies right now. And I highly recommend it. When I'm going to buy clothing products, I think about the fit, I think about the quality, and I think about how quickly can I get it. And they've touched on all of those points, and then they then go ahead to prove it in the video. So this right here is an insane ad. This is like perfect for middle of funnel, because they have basically read the consumer's mind and gone ahead and just solved all their objections. So let me go ahead and show you that video right now. So there's this one right here. So I bet it'll show you the unboxing, yeah, and then it will show you at the end the fit of it. So all objections handled. Yeah, see, there we go. And that's just a normal person, or it looks like a normal person. What also works well here, stuff like influencers wearing your product, just like Instagram images as they blend in well to the feed, and then also raw images of your product. And you can also test out your top of funnel ads here. Sometimes I literally just duplicate my top of funnel ads and test it out middle of funnel, because sometimes they may not need a different angle, they just need to see your ad a couple more times. So bottom of funnel creatives. So these are people that are very familiar with your brand. They've been to your website, they've added to cart, they've initiated checked out, or even if you're upselling purchasers, they know who you are. They pretty much do trust you. So the case here is just getting them to come back and buy. So the easiest way to do this is give them some sort of incentive. Maybe it's a 10% discount. Maybe again, it's free shipping. You just basically have to get creative with it. And then what I also do is put some sort of scarcity in it. So it's like, use this 10% discount code to complete your order. Only lasts for 24 hours, this code. And then in terms of the ad creative, you want flat lays or just your clothes on the model pulled from your website, and just retargeting them. They're familiar. They've seen that picture on your website, so you're just basically bringing them back. I quite a lot of the time use carousels for that, or dynamic product ads, which Facebook does it automatically. That's why a lot of the times you do see pictures from their website, is because Facebook pulls that off the website automatically. And right here is a very good example from Reputation Studios. So it says, complete your purchase with a discount, use code BACK15, hurry, offer expires soon. And then that's pulled from their website. And I could imagine they get a fairly high return on ad spend from that. So now you should have the tools, or if you've found a high return on ad spend, ad creative and audience, you can now start to scale up those audiences and scale up those ad creatives, which I'm now going to show you in part 3. So part 3, scaling / increasing ad spend. So once you found an ad creative that works, once you found audiences that worked, you can obviously start ramping up the budget and getting new customers consistently, and essentially scaling your clothing brand to the absolute moon. ABO scaling. So ABO stands for ad set budget optimization. There's 2 types of that. There's CBO, which is campaign budget optimization, and there's ABO, which is ad set budget optimization, which you tend to use most of the time. So the first strategy is duplicating ad set and finding a new audience. We typically call this horizontal scaling, which essentially means having multiple ad sets at a lower budget rather than having one ad set at a higher budget. So instead of having an ad set at £100, you'll have 10 ad sets at 10. The reason we do this is just because as you increase budget on ad sets, the cost per purchase usually goes up. So you can kind of mitigate this a bit by keeping the budget low on each individual ad set. So right now I'm going to show you how to do that. So if we go to the ads manager, let's say you've got an ad set that's working well, it's generated a lot of purchases. All you got to do is just press duplicate. Then just hit suggestions and then find something else. Maybe you want to put streetwear in. And then keep that all the same. Obviously change everything. Keep the budget the same and then carry on doing it. So just press duplicate again. And then maybe you want to go with Supreme. So you just basically duplicating ad sets, keeping the budget the same, but changing the audience. And as an overall ad account, we have now increased it by £20 per day. So the second strategy is increasing budget by 20% on ad set. You can obviously go more if your ad set budget is already really low, because you won't be making a huge amount of sales anyway. But let's say you're at 100 per day on an ad set, you want to take that by 20%, or 20 to 40% per day, as this tends to not throw it out of optimization and have that kind of delay where it has to re-optimize itself. And then finally, just go straight duplicating the ad set and then increasing the budget, and you can increase it to whatever you want. I recommend doubling it, just because you don't want to, you don't know how it's going to perform, because just because it works at a lower budget doesn't mean it's necessarily going to, if it works at £20 a day, doesn't mean it's going to work at £200 a day. But I tend to just duplicate it, as you're not messing with the other ad sets. And so let me show you a quick example of that. So you highlight the ad set, press duplicate, keep everything the same, just hit duplicate. And then if it's at 15 a day, I would just go ahead, 30 a day, and then hit publish, and then see how that plays out for the next couple of days. If it works or if it doesn't, just adjust accordingly. Right, so CBO scaling. I probably find most success with CBO scaling. This is what I use probably the most consistently as well. So what you do, you take in your best performing ad set, and then you're duplicating it 3 times and setting it as a new CBO, so a new campaign. What you want to do is keep the audience size the same. So if I have an ad set that's working well, what I'll do is duplicate it into a new campaign, and then just duplicate it 3 times, and then set the budget at probably like 50, 60, 70 pound a day. The thing with CBO, they take a lot longer to start working. So don't be surprised if the first 2 or 3 days are awful on it. If it's a higher budget CBO, I tend to look at my Shopify dashboard to see any significant increase in sales, because it's normally coming from the higher budget CBO. So any ad sets within that are really heavily underperforming, ideally don't turn off any of the ad sets. But if they are underperforming, you can turn off the underperforming one, and leave the rest on. So I'm going to show you a quick example of how I do that. So this right here is a simple CBO setup, where we spent 13,000 and made back just under 40,000 in revenue. As you can see here at the bottom, I turned the least performing one off. The budget for this one was £150 a day. So literally all I did was press duplicate on an ad set. And then this time, instead of doing existing campaign, instead of doing an original campaign, I hit new campaign. Let's just name the CBO, and then hit duplicate. And then within that new campaign, what you want to do is press duplicate again. Then duplicate again. And then go back to the campaign level and switch this bit on here from to CBO, and put that at £70 a day or whatever you want. Minimum, I would say £50 a day, and then hit publish. And then last but not least, manual bidding. I don't tend to use this all the time, but it's good to know, and I thought I'd put it in the PowerPoint because I have used it in the past a couple of times. So Facebook's obviously an auction platform. So what you're doing with manual bidding, you're manually bidding. So you're determining how much it should cost for a cost per purchase or whatever. So easiest way to do this is just duplicate a winning ad set and then change to manual bidding. Put it on cost cap. That's what I normally put it on. And then the target cost needs to be above your average cost per purchase. So you can just look on your average cost per purchase across all campaigns, and then add 20% to that. Otherwise it just won't spend. And if it does, then that's great. But normally it just won't spend, or it might spend a load in one day and then not spend anything next day. And then on top of that, budget needs to be 10 times target cost. So you've got to have a big budget for manual bidding. And the reason is again, it just won't spend money. So yeah, if it doesn't spend money, just hire the target CPP, so cost per purchase. But with manual bidding, you have to keep an eye on it all the time. That's why I don't tend to use it, because it will just spend your money within a couple of seconds. It has no time frame. So it will just go ahead. If you've got £1,000 and you just put that cost per purchase up a bit too much, it will just go and spend all of it and might not even get it for a very good cost. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So again, go ahead and hit duplicate. You want to put, so sorry, this is what I meant was cost control, so the target cost. So your cost control, you want to put, let's say your typical cost purchase is like 15 to 20. You want to put like 25 to 30. I'd put 30, and it'll come up with this little bid strategy and keep it on cost cap. And then what you want to do is come up to your budget. You'll want to put that at 300 a day. It's definitely not for people that have small budgets, but if you have a large budget and you want to scale extremely fast, then this is the way to do it. And then again, just hit publish. And also you can do it on CBO as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got some value out of that. If you've stayed to the end of this, I know it's going to be a long video. I really appreciate it. And remember, I'm going to link the PowerPoint down below if you want to download it. And again, use it for your own clothing brand, or use that as a standard operating procedure for your clothing brand. Maybe you have employees or media buyers. You can do that. And if you own a clothing brand doing $20,000 per month plus and have a validated product, have an audience, and you want to scale it to 7 figures and beyond, click the link below and apply to work with my agency, apply to work with me personally, where we will implement all these systems and more and take your brand to the absolute next level, really. So I appreciate your time and have a great day.